Most men believe attraction starts when a woman shows interest, when she laughs more, texts quickly, or tries to keep the conversation going. But psychologists who study attraction notice something strange. In many cases, a woman's mind begins deciding how she feels about a man before she ever shows interest at all. And sometimes, the things men do to create attraction are the exact things that quietly destroy it. Research in social psychology shows that desire is often triggered by a few subtle emotional signals the brain reacts to automatically. Signals that create curiosity, tension, and emotional pull. The problem is, most men were never taught how these signals work. But once you understand them, attraction stops feeling confusing because you start activating the exact signals the brain naturally responds to. In this video, we're going to break down 7 psychological signals that can create desire even when a woman initially seems uninterested. And the final one is especially powerful because according to behavioral psychologists, it activates one of the strongest motivation systems in the human brain. Let's start with the first signal. Signal 1. Masculine presence. According to research in evolutionary psychology, humans often judge confidence within seconds of seeing someone, before words, before logic, just from presence. A man who walks calmly, keeps relaxed posture, and doesn't search the room for approval signals emotional stability. Psychologists call this dominant presence, not dominance in a controlling way, but calm certainty, and that energy alone can make someone appear far more attractive. Signal 2. Playful challenge. Another pattern psychologists noticed is something called polarity. Attraction rarely grows from constant agreement. It grows from contrast. When a man lightly challenges a woman in a playful way, it creates emotional tension, and tension creates intrigue. For example, if she says she loves waking up early, instead of instantly agreeing, you might smile and say, "Really? You look like someone who negotiates with the snooze button." It's playful, it's confident, and it shows you're not trying too hard to impress. That subtle difference creates spark. Signal 3. Selective attention. One of the biggest attraction killers is over-attention. Behavioral psychologists have studied something called perceived value. People naturally place higher value on things that are limited. When a man gives constant attention, instant replies, and unlimited availability, the brain subconsciously labels it as low value. But when someone has a full life goals, hobbies, direction, their time becomes valuable, and value creates curiosity. Signal 4. Intentional listening. According to research in cognitive psychology, emotional connection strengthens memory. When someone feels interested in another person, their brain remembers details about them more easily. But this works both ways. When you remember something she mentioned earlier, it signals presence and attentiveness. Maybe she once mentioned loving orchids. Days later, you mention a flower shop you passed and say it reminded you of her. That small detail shows something powerful. You were actually listening. And feeling understood creates emotional connection. Signal 5. Confident vulnerability. Many men believe they must appear perfect, but psychologists studying relationships say emotional authenticity builds trust faster than perfection. When you share something real, a challenge you overcame, or something meaningful from your life, it creates depth. The key is confidence. You're not seeking sympathy, you're simply showing who you are. And that balance between strength and openness builds emotional attraction. Signal 6. Natural physical contact. Human connection isn't only verbal. Studies in behavioral science show that light, respectful touch releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Simple moments like a light touch on the arm while laughing or a brief shoulder tap while walking can create warmth and comfort. These small physical signals help the brain associate your presence with positive emotions. Signal 7. Controlled unpredictability. And now the final signal. One of the strongest psychological drivers of interest. According to neuroscience research, the brain releases dopamine when it experiences rewarding uncertainty. This is the same chemical that makes people excited about surprises. When someone becomes slightly unpredictable, not inconsistent, but balanced, curiosity grows. Sometimes you initiate conversation. Sometimes you let space exist. Sometimes you're playful. Sometimes calm and mysterious. This creates intrigue. And intrigue keeps someone thinking about you long after you're gone. Attraction isn't about tricks, it's about understanding human psychology. When you combine presence, confidence, attention, and a little mystery, something shifts. You stop chasing attention, and instead, you become someone people naturally feel curious about. Now, I'm curious about something. Which of these 7 signals do you think most men overlook? Write the number in the comments. And if you enjoy learning about psychology, attraction, and human behavior, subscribe to the channel.